Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Let's see who's coming on live today. Today, we're going to be talking about you get to have it all, meaning you get to choose both. You get to choose all of it. 5 things, 2 things. You don't have to settle and sacrifice something for something else when you truly desire it. When you really want something and it's your truth, you can have it. You can experience it. So today we're going to talk about you get to have both. You get to have it all. You get to experience it. You get to fully be all the roles, the titles, all of the things you want to be. We know for one thing, none of us get out of this lifetime alive, right? So how do we make the best of it so we're not regretting? That's the last thing you want to think about on your deathbed is regret. I wish I would have. I wish I could have. Because you can, especially in the times of uncertainty, so much possibility. So much possibility. The most uncertain times create even more possibility, but most of the time we're walking around with blinders on, focusing on what we don't have, the lack, that something is missing, instead of, wow, I get to be curious, I get to be playful, I get to figure out what I want to do next. How do I want to react to this, whatever this is? In the times of uncertainty, this could be a layoff. This could be a breakup. This could be a death in the family. This could be serious shit, guys, like that happens in life. But you get to choose because you're still here. You're still present. You're still breathing. You're still alive. Just because something happens doesn't mean game over unless you've just taken your last breath. And here's the thing, the old paradigm is why I do what I do today. The old paradigm of sacrificing being a parent over the career, or sacrificing the career so you can be a full-time parent, or at least a fully engaged parent, like that's all BS. It doesn't have to be that way. If you're living that way and it feels great, you're doing a good job. Because when you feel good, you're in alignment. When you feel good, you're in alignment. But most of us this day and age has hustled, has grind their way to success, or just missing the success. And so they're still hustling and they're grinding and they're hustling and they're grinding and they're pushing. And I know for a fact you can have both. And it doesn't have to be hard. And it doesn't have to be a hustle and grind all day, every day. This lifetime is a marathon. It's a lifetime. Our bodies are resilient. They're not robots. They need to reset. They need to recharge, just like when we plug in our phones. So we need to release that it needs to be hard, or that it has to be hard. We need to release that you have to choose one over the other. We need to release that what people think of us is who we are. No, what people think of us is not our responsibility. How we respond to how people think of us and what they think of us could be our responsibility and our responsibility. If we choose to, we can also set boundaries and not give a shit. Really, release the power you're giving to other people, because most people think from their mind. Most people react from their mind. Most people live life just from their mind. And there's a lot of genius and brilliance there. I'm not devaluing that, but I'm saying it is also very limited. So instead, care more about what you want to experience, who you want in your life. How does that feel? What do you desire? And how can you experience that sooner than later than waiting for someday when? Someday when my kids go to college, someday when I retire, someday when I make $1 million, someday when I finally get that promotion, someday. I used to be that someday person because that's what I was taught. I was taught you had to work hard, you had to hustle, you had to do your best, you had to be your best to earn it. I'm like, I'd rather allow it and receive it. And I show up in my power and everybody wins. So why haven't you experienced it yet? Again, are you waiting on that tax return? Are you waiting on a promotion? Because the one thing that kills me the most is when I hear people say they're waiting for retirement and they're 30 years old, or they're 27 years old, or they're 50 years old, and they're still waiting. And they don't even know if they can retire because they haven't prepared, because they've risked it all and they made bad choices and they failed and they failed and they failed and they focused on what they failed. I'm like, okay, those are lessons, those are challenges, those are wisdoms that we can carry through. It's kind of like, don't touch the hot stove. You touch the hot stove, it's hot. Don't touch it again. But what can we do different now? When can we pivot and choose again? Because you always get a choice to choose again every moment. You get to choose. You don't have to. Because at the end of the day, you're going to keep getting what you're getting. So like, for example, outsiders see me as like a hustler, a make it happen, closing millions for my clients and for so many different mega brands out there that needed my expertise to come in and show them what's possible, to train their trainers, to train their closers, to train their coaches on how to have a conversational close versus a convincing, slimy, sleazy sales, right? And I love sales. I love making money. But what I love most is knowing that I'm empowering the person on the other side of the conversation to feel confident and clear about their decision. When I have a solution, or I know somebody has a solution for them, knowing that they're clear and confident in their decision and they feel good about it, that's why I wake up every day feeling good about what I choose to do. So my other side of me that not many get to see all the time, which I'm going to be sharing more of on my Instagram. So stay tuned, or if you're not following me over there, go to Jacqueline Mack. Mentoring and coaching business owners, those climbing the corporate ladder who've had a taste of success or just missed it, but they're burning out and they desire more, but they're feeling guilty about desiring more. Because it's like, oh, I dreamt of a day to be where I am now, and I'm still not satisfied. I want more. Good, because you get to have more. You get to be both, have it all. But we got to stop chasing. We got to stop convincing others. We got to stop justifying. None of that feels good for you, and it doesn't feel good for the other people on the other end. It's so much more than that. It's so much more. Those who know me as a leader, as an expert, can trust that I am a very prime example of what's possible for them. Can trust that I can assist them to clear away the bullshit and finally start living their truth again, sometimes for the first time ever. And that's scary when you're in your 30s and 40s or 50s and you're living your truth for the first time ever. Why did we wait till then? Because we didn't know it was possible. Maybe we didn't know that we had an example to say that it could be this way, because we're following all these other gurus are saying you have to do this, you have to hustle and grind, you have to hit this first, you have to pay your dues. Bullshit. Bullshit. You can hire someone to accelerate your growth. You can hire someone to help you with your inner game, because your inner game is a direct reflection on your outer game, and your outer game is a direct reflection of what your inner game is. So I tell people, check yourself before you wreck yourself all the time. So when you believe and trust, but this is not, I believe or I think or I'm saying these things. And yeah, I see that it's possible because I see somebody over there who has what I want. And if they have it, I know I can have it. But it's a deeper belief. It's an unshakable belief. You feel it in your bones. It's a trust that you just know and you expect. And it's going to happen. And you release the how, you release the pressure of the time. And it really happens like this. It's that or something better even sooner than you wildly imagine. And when you believe and trust at this deep level, faith is easier. Faith is easier. Life is fun. You're fulfilled. You can be curious and in a and wonder of how this is all going to play out versus needing, lacking. How am I going to get this? This isn't happened yet. It's probably never going to happen. I should just give up. And that's what people do all the time. Most people give up because 80% of it is what's between our ears. 80% of it is mindset. 80% of it is belief. 80% of it is not even being clear and confident, not having the courage to even understand what the heck you even want. 80% is what's between our ears. 20% of it is the strategy. And there's tons of strategies out there that have proven and work. But what strategy feels best for you? What strategies line up with your values and how you want to live your life and how you get to choose to have both? I get to be both, right? But I get to be both because I'm a match, not just with my thoughts, not just with my words that I speak every day. Those are powerful. Those are a part of this. But I get to be a match because of how I feel, how I show up, and how I am connected to my truest self. It's an inner work game, and you have to spend time with that on a consistent basis. And there's so many things you can do. It's not hours. Some days I do spend hours. Other days it's 11 minutes here, 20 minutes there. Sometimes it's journaling. Sometimes it's meditation. Sometimes it's reading a good book. Like I'm reading again, Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself, Joe Dispenza. Amazing, amazing. I've had some of my greatest breakthroughs because of this book. And I had some of my greatest breakthroughs before that book. And they were because of some of the strategies in the book that I was doing without even reading the dang book, because of my life experience, because of other coaches I've hired, because of workshops I've been to, retreats, things I've signed up for, things I invested in because I knew it was going to be pivotal shift work for me. So it led me to believe, as a recovering perfectionist, as a recovering people pleaser, that in order to have a successful life, in order to have more without doing more, because we only have so many hours in the day. I'm a volunteer, I'm a mom, I'm a wife, my husband travels a lot for work. My family is not super close by to help just pick up the kids from school. And I actually love picking my kids up from school. I enjoy that because I get to have those times with them. I don't care how much money I make in my lifetime. I know I'll never be able to buy back yesterday or 20 minutes ago. Even the billionaires of the world cannot buy back time. But what I have come to find out that it's not the only way is because this person did it that way. I get to choose. I get to do it my way, but I got to get clear on what it is that I want. What is my definition of wealth? Is it just finances? No. People who know me, it's wealth of happiness. It's wealth of health. It's wealth of adventure. It's my values. It's wealth of freedom. And what does freedom mean to me? It's not just financial freedom. Again, I love money. I wouldn't be a high ticket sales queen if I didn't love money, if I didn't love impacting people's lives. But it is all of the things. And I know every day and I connect to it every day. So it's a beingness of who I am and not just the words coming out of my mouth. It's all of that. And I get to have fun. And this is something that sometimes I struggle with because I'm a make it happen type A person, recovering perfectionist. I have a strong alpha side of me that's very masculine and I can get shit done, not just for myself, but for others very quickly. But think about the time that you dreamt of where you are right now. And think about how much more you still desire and how much more you still deserve. And does it seem exhausting or does it seem liberating? Do you feel guilty for wanting more? Or do you think, shoot, yeah, I can have it. I've earned it and I'm ready to have it. Let's rock it. Let's go. When am I going to get it? How am I going to book it? Where am I going to go buy it? Who am I going to bring along? That's the difference here. Most of us do not have the courage or the confidence to ask the tough questions. Most of us do not even honor our truth to even tap into what our deepest desires are. Our deepest desires are bigger than just wants. And they're not needs. Needs means there's something missing. I need food every day. I need rest. I make sure those are a priority and I get those in my routine every day. So I don't actually need them because I know I'm going to get that every day. So there's no lack in those areas. But when you say you need money, for example, because everybody says, I need more money is going to solve all my problems. I just laugh because money is going to come and go. How are you with money? Are you able to bring money in? Are you able to release money out, knowing, trusting, have faith? It's always going to be circulating because money is just an energetic exchange. It's one thing that we're energetically exchanging. But then we tie that all back to regretting. The most popular regret of the dying is not living more, not playing more, and not doing the things that lift them up in their heart of hearts, their truth, and instead living out the expectations of everyone else. Everyone else. And some of those everyone else, you're just a blip on their radar, right? They might not even think of you by the time you're on your deathbed. They might not even know when you are on your deathbed. So who wants to sign up with regrets? Not me. And I can tell you a quick story that I planted that seed strongly ever since I was a tenacious 5-year-old, right? All the way through my adolescence, even into college. I got offered a job before I even graduated college. And it was a decent job. And it gave me the opportunity to move to where I wanted to live, I thought, which was Florida. And I turned down that job. It took a lot of guts. At that time I said balls, because I thought that was the cool thing to say. It took a lot of confidence. It took a lot of courage to look at this doctor for this corporate program that in Celebration, Florida, and tell him, and this is a job that I definitely wanted. I thought this was going to be my end all be all. I was going to live and breathe this and help impact lives and, assist in giving people lifestyle prescriptions and not just Lipitor prescriptions, and helping the top players of companies finally regain their health because of the stressors and the pressures of their climbing the corporate ladder. That wasn't a priority. It was all about chasing the dollar and meeting expectations, and their health deteriorated because it wasn't a priority. So I worked for a lifestyle medicine company that I thought I was going to retire at. Retire and live happily ever after, because that's what I was taught. Work hard, get in, work your way up. And I loved it. Find something you love, make sure it's impactful, it's aligned with your values, and did. But I turned that job down. Why? Because I had another opportunity. I was going to be graduating early, and I decided I didn't want to graduate early. I wanted to walk with my graduating class. I wanted to see the world. I wanted to go on semester at sea. And if you're not familiar with semester at sea, it is amazing. You have children that eventually go to college or are of that age, look it up. Highly recommend it. Basically got on a boat in the Bahamas and went completely around the world, stopping at different countries, looking at third world countries, and understanding other practices and religions and cultures and things like that. Ended up in Seattle. And I knew I could take that job and miss out on semester at sea, but in my heart, in my gut, in my truth, I would regret not taking a chance to take 3 months and go around the world. I was about ready to commit to working the rest of my life, paying my dues. And when will be the next time I could take 3 months off? This was before I even knew what an entrepreneur was. This was before I even thought what was possible, which is what I've been living since 2008. And so I told that doctor with a lump in my throat, I'm going on semester at sea. If this job is available when I return, this is the date I'm graduating, I'd be happy to accept. Otherwise, I would live my life with no regrets, and I do not want to live my life with any regrets starting this young. And I was sweating, and I walked away. And guess what? I went on semester at sea. I came back, and that position was available. And I took that position, and I had it for about 2 years. At a networking event, I met another person, worked at the Human Performance Institute for a couple of years, worked with the founders, Dr. Jim Lair, Dr. Jack Grapple, The Power of Full Engagement. Amazing book if you have never read it. Amazing book. It's part of my foundational work, which is why I'm a very fully engaged mom, and I'm present with my children when I'm with my children, because again, I know the value of the time that I have with them. They may not see it yet, but I know it. And that's what's most important. And I'm leading that by example. From there, I met other people. And if I connect the dots from the people I've connected with, and the next opportunities that led me to opportunities, I could have, as a recovery and control freak, I could not have planned that. I could not have planned the trajectory of what brought me to where I am today, to where I'm helping multi-million-dollar brands close multi-million dollars more, helping mom and pops mentors, coaches, course creators finally create and have the clarity and confidence of their high ticket offer and owning their worth, declaring their freedom, declaring their wealth, having money be a safe place to land and to come into their world. You know, making six figures is great, but then once you look at when you're operating a business, it's not a lot of money. It doesn't really extend the additional freedoms when it comes to traveling luxury, going, you know, first class all the time, and just the things that you desire. And I love luxury, by the way. I am not afraid to share that I've had a BMW, I've had a Buick, and now I have a Tesla. And I love fast cars. I love being behind them. I love the way it makes me feel. I'm not big on brand names, but I just, you know, it is what it is. I also love going to thrift stores. I've taught my daughters recently because I had a family member talk about a thrift store, and they're like, Mom, what's a thrift store? What's a Goodwill? It's a place we always donate our stuff. And why would we go back in there and buy stuff? And I explained, like, this is where things go, not just because people can't afford, but because if it doesn't go here, it's going to end up in the landfill. And I do care about our earth. I do love to recycle and reuse things and put things to better practice. I'll take something off my wall and repaint it. My husband's like, why don't you just sell that or donate it and go buy a new one? I'm like, because it still has a purpose. And if I just throw some paint on it and it allows me to, you know, share my creativity, I get to do both. I get to be thrifty and I get to be bougie because I get to be the girl next door for a neighbor to cry on a shoulder. And I get to be the badass that tells the operator of a multi-million-dollar business, this and this isn't working anymore. And we need to shift. We need to test this. I'm happy to do it for you. I don't know if it's going to work either, but I'm confident that if we try this and we try that and we don't give up and we look at our metrics, something's going to work. Because again, 20% of this is strategy, 80% of it is mindset, 80% of it is belief, 80% of it is how and what you want. How do you want to feel? Not just how are you going to do this or how is it going to work out? That's the fun of it all. Sometimes we know how and sometimes we don't. But like I said, in the times of uncertainty, there's so much possibility. So I want to jump into my virtues because this is the secret. This is the secret to having it all. And this is something I only share with my one-on-one clients. I don't even share this in my masterminds, but I'm going to start sharing it in my masterminds because I've realized how critical knowing your virtues are, not just your desires. Because sometimes we get hung up in the desires and they're either something that's congruent with our virtues or not. And that's when things start to shift and not feel good. And I always tell people, take aligned action. Aligned intentional action is always the key to sustainable success that feels good and that is simple and easy. So when I think of my virtues, there's actually a great book called The 4 Agreements. And the 4 Agreements is something that I've always looked back to because those 4 things free me from all the drama. Because life's going to happen, no matter how centered and zen we are to our truth, we step out into the world and life happens, right? So when life happens, what are the 4 things you can do to stay connected to your truth? Honor your word. Honor your word. And if you say something that you regret, or you say something in a way that you didn't realize offended someone, it's not your job to figure that out or to justify that. But it is your job to clean it up if someone comes back to you, right? And you get to decide how long you get to hang out there. Sometimes we have to have hard boundaries, but you honor your word. And when you be your best, there's not much cleaning up to do because your best comes from your truth. Your best comes from a place of light. Your best comes from love, from kindness, not being nice, not people pleasing, not justifying, but just being your best. And it feels good. That's how you know you're being your best. Not just doing your best. Doing is a part of it, but being is first. And then take nothing personally. This might be hard for a lot of people. It's not too hard for me because I've been practicing this for a long time. Life is not so serious. We don't need to take things personally. Life's to be fun. Life's to be fulfillment, ease, flow, playfulness. And then when we don't take things personally, we also need to make sure we make no assumptions. No assumptions towards other people. This is the hard part for some people to do because now you have to ask the tough questions. Now, you probably heard the saying, assuming makes an ass out of you and me. Assume. We don't want to assume. We can miss out on so much opportunity for assuming something. Oh, I assume that's just not something they need anymore. Or I'm assuming that they already have everything figured out. Most of the time, that's not the case. So those are the 4 things. Honor your word, be your best, take nothing personally, and make no assumptions. So with that said, who are you giving all your power away to? Are you giving it away to old beliefs, old stories? Are you physically giving it away to other people? Your boss, your spouse, your children, your parents, your brother, your sister, your neighbor, your cousin, your best friend? Who are you giving your power away to? Because you get to decide. You get to have and be and do the experience you desire. But is it the new beliefs in the driver's seat, or is it the old stories? Is it something your boss told you were back in the day, that your grammar sucked and your email sucked and you need to go take a lesson on something, or your parents said that wasn't good enough, or you're not pretty enough, or you're not skinny enough, or you're not strong enough, or you're not enough? Or your children. Please, no one use their children as an excuse. And no one let them take your power away either. They are so divine, beautiful, loving humans that we get the chance to raise and be the example for. And I never want a child to feel like they are the reason mommy or daddy doesn't, work out. They have to split up, right? Or they're the reason that a parent doesn't take care of their health, doesn't put themselves as a priority, or they're the reason that they have to work so hard and hustle and grind and take so many phone calls and go on all these trips. And this is why mommy and daddy have to be away all the time. This is why you're always with the nanny or the childcare or the this and the that and the this. Because sometimes there are moments where that's just part of life. I get that. But don't make them feel like it's a sacrifice. It's something you get to do because you get to bring in the money, because you get to go on great trips, because you get to allow them to have the life that they love. It's a get to. It's not a have to. It's not a need. And it takes awareness to catch yourself. I'm still working on this, because I love to work. I love to help people. My job, my career path is what I love to do because it's who I naturally show up as anyways. But again, this all goes back to your belief, your trust, and your faith, and having fun and being curious, and quit trying to figure out and control the how. I'm telling you, you can push it, you can grind it, and you can focus on that one way, and you'll probably get there. But you might miss the easier route. You might miss something bigger, something better, because it's always this or something better. It's this or something better, this or something better. When I desire something and I don't have it yet, it's this or something better. I could not have planned the last 20 years of my life, like I said, from that internship to a job offer, to turning down the job, to still getting the job, to where I am right now, running a business, mentoring multi-million-dollar businesses, multi-million dollars. I've made millions in my lifetime. Have I made $1 million in a year? Nope, not yet. But I've helped so many businesses do 10, 20, 30 plus $1 million a year, a freaking year. Because of the skills, because of what I believe, because of the inner game is reflecting on my outer game. 80% of it is on point. Any strategy is going to work. And I'm going to do any strategy that feels good. And the second a strategy doesn't feel good, I'm done. Back when I was just doing sales calls for companies, guess what I would do? Strategy felt good, do it for a while. The second it didn't feel good, hey, this isn't working out for me. But you're closing at 75%. I know, but this just isn't working out for me. There's something more, and I don't know what it is. And I'm sorry, but I'll be an affiliate or I'll refer, but I got to move on. I wasn't worried about hurting their feelings. I'm replaceable. Everybody is replaceable. This is why people get divorced and get married. Everybody's replaceable, right? So, and there are times I failed horribly, right? There are times that I trusted myself and I look back and I listened to myself and I trusted my truth and my desires. And those moments were much more easier and those things were fun. And those were the times that seem like miracles. When I share those stories with my mastermind groups and my master classes and my one-on-one coaching, when I share those stories of how I declared something and boom, it showed up, because I released the how, because I released the grind and I just allowed it in, it happened like this. Here's a funny quick story. So we have a baby bunny. She's a little bunny. I wanted a bigger, fatter bunny, but a friend gave us this bunny because they realized they didn't want it after they brought it in, and my daughter became attached to it. And I didn't even want the bunny. I wanted to get rid of the bunny. I said, well, I want a bigger, floppier bunny. And I'm like, well, I don't really want to go buy another bunny, because what if it's a mean bunny? Like, it's like cats to me. I love dogs. I love all animals. But how do you pick a cat that's not a jerk? Because I feel like some cats are super cool and some cats are jerks. It's just my experience so far. So I was just talking casually with a friend and I let it go. Less than a few weeks later, I get a text from a friend. Hey, another friend wants to give away a bunny. This one's super cute. You should take a look. I'm like, okay. Well, it was like an hour and a half away. I'm like, I'm not driving an hour and a half away for a free bunny. Oh, I messaged the person, by the way, we're going to be in Orlando in 2 days. We could drop the bunny off. And I'm like, I don't know if I want another bunny. Are you sure this bunny is really cool? Is it not a jerk? Blah, 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 blah. They bring in the bunny, drop him off. I scoop him up, snuggle him. He's awesome. He has the best personality. And I got a bunny like that. If I can manifest or attract a bunny, you better believe I can manifest and attract millions of dollars, which I have, which is not just my skill sets, but it's the inner game. It's the allowing and the knowing and the trusting and the having faith of showing up in my truest self. Because when we look at all of this, each step of me leveling up in my life, each step for me having the courage and the confidence and be like, oh, I was confident over here, but this is new. How do I get to that next level of confidence? Confidence is this. Write this down or go back and listen to this if you need to. Confidence is this. Yes, the law of attraction. But confidence is what allows in the energy of a law of attraction, because everything's an equal energy exchange. Confidence is having the courage to take consistent, aligned action. That will give you competence, but it also gives you confidence. Courage plus consistent action. You could be consistent action, but aligned action, your truth. It should feel good. If it doesn't feel good, maybe that's not something you need to be confident in. I don't ever want to be confident on singing on a stage to millions of people in a crowd. I don't desire that, right? So therefore, I'm not going to be confident there, and I'm not going to grow my confidence muscle. But I can tell you, through all the breakups in life, through all the layoffs in life, through me initiating some hard decisions to leave, right? To leave some really good positions without hurting people's feelings was very risky, because it was risky. I left so much on the table, people said, but it wasn't as risky as losing myself. It wasn't as risky as settling and not living out my truth. There's a big difference there. I know I meant for more. I know I meant for more than even what I'm doing right now. And I'm curious to what that's going to look like. I'm curious at who's going to show up. It's super hard. It is super hard. But you get to choose for it to be easy. You can choose for it to be easy. If you focus on all the reasons it's hard, you're going to get more hard. If you focus on, wow, it's really this simple, and I'm choosing this, and I can go here. And I can do it my way. I don't have to do it the way my parents told me. I don't have to do it the way my boss told me. I don't have to do it the way my professor told me. I don't have to do it the way my last coach told me or mentor. And a good coach and mentor will help you figure out your way, your freedom, your wealth, your desires, your way. Because here's the thing, the tragedy of life is not death. And this is why I'm sharing all this wisdom today, because my birthday's coming up. And I want to gift this to everyone. Really hear me. The tragedy of life is not death. We know at some early age that we don't get out alive, but it's what dies inside us while living. What is inside of you that you desire? If it wasn't meant for you, you wouldn't have the desire. Because you have the desire, it's meant for you. It's meant for you. It's meant for you. It's meant for you. Don't make yourself right or wrong about it. Just be it, live it, figure out what next logical step, what next feeling step just feels best. And it could be just that one step. It could be researching that next person to help you figure it out. because you want to get there so much faster. This is for everything in life. This is for your health. This is for business. This is for relationship. This is for finances. Because again, your outer experience is a direct reflection of your inner game. The strategy behind all strategies is the inner game. This is why I'm an inner game mentor. This is why I'm a confidence and wealth mentor. Not just a coach. I can give you the tools and the strategies, but mentorship, we customize things. What feels best for you? The most successful people I know connect to this on a regular basis, consistently. Look at all the athletes in the world. They have an inner game. They have a breathing routine. Breathing, people. We take breathing for granted. They have rituals, they have routines, they have habits where they're connecting to their highest self. They're dropping out of their head and into their heart, their soul. Because that's all we are. We're just cells in a soul. That's it. So you have to have access and you have to connect to that inner game. And you have to believe and you have to trust and you have to know. You get to have both. I get to go be a breakthrough queen with some clients, and I get to come over here and be a high ticket sales coach. I get to be a fully engaged mom and go on field trips and volunteer as a room mom. And I get to have a thriving, successful business that's making multiple 7 figures. I get to be a supportive wife and go on dinner dates and vacations with just me and my husband. And I get to go on a girls' trip. I don't have to sacrifice one for the other. I get to have both. And there were times where I thought I had to choose. There were times my husband and I would plan, are like, oh, okay, you're going to go on a girls' trip this year. I guess I'll go on a guy's trip and we'll postpone our vacation for another time. I look back and I'm like, why did I think that was the only way to live? That's crazy. And back then I knew some of the mindset stuff, but I wasn't practicing it. I wasn't connecting. It wasn't part of my daily life. So here we are. Life is so short. And like I said, no amount of money can buy back time. No amount of money will buy back time. So get very clear on what you're here for. Get very clear to what you want to live for. What do you want to be known for? What lights you up? What are your values? And are your values the priority in your life? Or are you letting other people decide what your priority is? Because you get to have it all. Anything is possible. There are over 1 million ways to make $1 million, right? 1 million ways. But what feels good to you? How fast do you want it? Do you want to make $1 million in a day? Do you want to make $1 million in 10 years? Neither are right or wrong. It's just what feels good to you. And I'm constantly sharing what's possible on my Instagram stories, and my Instagram feed, on my Instagram lives. I'm constantly sharing what's possible because somebody needs that shift, that spark in order to make the shift. Somebody needs that activation in order to make the shift. And that's what I do in our masterclasses. That's what I do in our masterminds. That's what I do in the one-on-one coaching. We activate, we integrate, we embody the being and the becoming of who we really are. So what are your top values? Mine, being an entrepreneur, has always been freedom. Even before I knew what an entrepreneur was freedom, freedom, freedom. Freedom from the 9 to 5, freedom in my business, freedom in my life, freedom in all the ways to go where I want, travel where I want, doesn't matter how much. If I want to be thrifty, I can be thrifty. If I want to be bougie, I can be bougie. The freedom to be me, the freedom to express myself, the freedom of challenges, of ailments, of disease, of dysfunction in my body, the freedom, financial freedom, happiness. When you're happy, when you're truly happy, you're free. You feel free. How can you feel happy and trapped? It doesn't go hand in hand. It's really hard to feel both those feelings at the same time. And another couple of my values, just so maybe this will spark some inspiration: freedom, integrity, trust. I'm a mentor, I'm a coach. People have to trust me. I have to trust myself. I have to trust when I'm being intuitive and I'm being guided and I'm sharing. And I'm like, what the heck? This makes no sense. Even when it makes no sense, I trust because it works every single time. And if it doesn't work out, it gets us one step closer because I've seen it over and over the past 20 plus years. Another value of mine is fun, adventure, travel, the balance of the grind, right? I don't grind, but I do work hard. I give it my all when I show up. You don't just get a piece of me. Self-love is a value. I have to take care of myself. I have to, but I get to. And I know that I have to because at times I forget that I get to. And I don't want to wait until dysfunction happens, until I have a migraine or I burn out again for the 20th time. I'm a recovering burnout from corporate so many times. I'm a recovering burnout in my entrepreneur game of hustling and grinding for other big businesses and taking sales calls. And how many calls can I get? Can you take 10 more? Can you add a couple more? Can you add a couple more? This campaign's going fast. Can you do it again? Can you do it again? Yes. Recovering people pleaser. I'm a yes lady. Yes, 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 yes. No. Hard boundaries. Protect myself. What are my virtues? What are my values? Freedom, integrity, trust, adventure, self-love, wealth, luxury, generosity, family, confidence, clarity. I'm bold as can be, but I'm so humble and kind. Everything comes with great love. Everything comes from great intentional love and kindness. I have to be organized. Have to be organized to be super successful. I get to be organized because I'm super successful. I'm very sensitive to the energy around what's on my desk, what's over here, what's over there. I'm sensitive to that. I know that because that's my energy. My growth, my expansion is a value. My curiosity, the ability to play and have fun and not be so worried or anxious about what's next. Stability. Stability is a foundational piece. I like discomfort. I like to be comfortable with being uncomfortable because I know that's expansion, that's growth. But I like knowing that I'm a safe place for people to get uncomfortable and to express what's not working, what is working before they break down. I love the fact that I'm stability and I'm comfort for people that they can count on, that they can trust and know that I can help lead them. But at the end of the day, they get to have it all. And they know it's not me. I'm not empowering people. Everybody has their power. It's just whether or not you realize that and you tap into it. I don't give people power. There's no like, here's your power for today. Here's your confidence for today. Here's your clarity for today. I ask the tough questions and I help people get very clear. I'm an activator. I'm a liberator. I'm a mentor. I'm a coach. And I'm a breakthrough queen. And today I'm sending you with so much love because this episode was filled with so much wisdom. Please go back and listen. Please go back and take notes. Please integrate a lot of what I've mentioned here because that integration will allow the becoming. The integration of tapping into your truth will allow it to be a part of your reality. But if you just listen to this and move on, there might be a couple sparks. You might be jazzed for 20, 30 minutes or a day. But what's going to shift? The shift work is the inner game, is the being, then the aligned action, which is the doing. So I'm sending you so much love. Remember, you get to have it all. You get to choose both. You don't have to sacrifice one for the other. And if it doesn't feel good, you get to choose again. Sending you so much love. Till next time.